listen! No soldier ever placed a bomb under a policeman's car. No soldier in the British Army ever placed a bomb in a pub full of innocents. And the IRA never released any prisoners. Since we began this group in November, we have received replies from the Prime Minister and many members of Parliament. In most cases, they claim that they cannot interfere with the process of law. They cannot interfere with the police service of Northern Ireland. If that was true, what was the Good Friday Agreement about? Sure, they will mouth their platitudes about releasing convicted murderers early and hide behind legal terms. They will use meaningless concepts such as fair and proportional. But when we remove the flannel, it comes down to a simple understanding between right and wrong. What our Parliament is allowing to happen is wrong. Proportionate. What they want is one soldier investigated for every 9 terrorists. That sounds reasonable, doesn't it? Except the police know where every soldier is. They know which soldiers open fire, and they know why they open fire. There is an official paper trail to every soldier. Every soldier that killed somebody in self-defense. Of the gangsters, there is no paper trail. No admission of opening fire. No admission of planting a bomb. The police know that most of them are living freely in Eire, in the USA, and even in Ulster. When the police want to find a veteran, they knock on his front door. If a terrorist is investigated, he disappears. New and credible evidence. There isn't any new and credible evidence against our soldiers. The lawyers ask the same questions a dozen different ways until they get a more ambiguous answer. Dennis Hutchins has been to court twice in the past to answer for a shooting he was party to 45 years ago. Now he's facing the same questions again for a third time. The Director of Public Prosecutions in Northern Ireland will take veterans back to court time and time again on trumped-up accusations in the hope that eventually he will get somebody found guilty. That's not law. That's malicious prosecution. Operation Banner. 3,200 362 souls murdered by the gangsters in Northern Ireland. 367 killed lawfully by the security forces in defence of themselves or in defence of the public. 89 unknown. And that just means that those murders weren't officially sanctioned by the leaders of the IRA and the UDA. Equivalency. There can be no equivalence between those whose sole purpose was to commit murder to advance their cause and those whose sole role was to protect the public. There can be no fairness between professional liars who will do and say anything to obtain their objectives and decent citizens who only want peace. There can be no fairness between officers of the state whose actions are recorded and criminals who just hide across an open border. Do not be distracted. We are not here to discuss Northern Irish politics or the evils of terrorism. We know what they are. Yes. We're here to protest about cowardly, lying, idle, uncaring governments who choose to let criminals hold our veterans hostage. To hold our veterans hostage with a malicious abuse of the legal system. If the British people know one thing, it's the difference between right and wrong. But when our campaign was recently debated in the House of Commons, less than 30 of them showed up. Several almost identical letters from members of Parliament state that they value the armed forces and they are grateful for our service. I don't believe them. They have no idea how patronising and pathetic such comments are when 500 of them sit on their hands every day and allow this type of evil and immoral behaviour to continue.
It's an insult.
This apathy, this cowardice tells gangsters that extortion, intimidation, murder and corruption are the path to power. If we allow ourselves to be governed by appeasers, then we will end up with the government we deserve. As a soldier, I swore true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors and all officers set above me. I didn't swear allegiance to a bunch of mealy-mouthed, cowardly hypocrites who refuse to acknowledge that their freedoms came from our sacrifices. So what did we get in our reply to the letter from Mrs. May? Nothing of any great substance. She also pays tribute to the armed forces who served so bravely. She acknowledges our depth of feeling and then passes the buck back to the police and the prosecution services. She talks about agreeing to new institutions to make things fair and proportionate. Well, the 2014 Stormont House Agreement hasn't changed anything in the past 3 years. It's drivel, drivel and more bloody drivel. We told her we wanted a Churchill, not a Chamberlain. So far, we've got a Mrs. Maybe. Maybe she's on our side, and maybe she's not. Today, we've written again to the Prime Minister. But after today, our next letter must go to the Queen, whose husband... whose husband, son and grandson have fought for our country. We need leverage, and that leverage can only come from the ballot box and the courts of law. We must affect the by-elections in our constituencies. We have soldiers and veterans in every county in Britain, and regardless of our political leanings, next time there's a vote, we, you, me, we have to ask, what did you do for the Northern Ireland veterans? If the answer is nothing, then we must ensure that the people know that their Member of Parliament did nothing. You did nothing, Oliver Letwin. You did nothing, Amber Rudd. You did nothing, Liam Fox. You did nothing, Theresa May. Legal experts have stated that the human rights of our veterans have been breached. And today we forwarded a legal argument to the Prime Minister. One section of the Human Rights Act states that every person is entitled to a trial in a reasonable time. 45 years is not a reasonable time. In the coming months, we will ask you for your support, and we will ask for funds to carry this campaign forward. We need to engage a human rights lawyer, and we need to put our people and our advertising on the ground at every vote. It will take time, it will take endurance, and it will take determination. If we are to succeed, then we must use the few weapons that we together have effectively. We must have berries, flags, medals, posters outside and close to polling stations asking, what did you do for us? We must affect the vote, and we must make 500 politicians care. Parliament has forgotten that freedom and decency have to be fought for by men and women of integrity in governments and out there on the battlefield. They must be people who know the difference between right and wrong. People who know what bravery and sacrifice really means. This witch hunt has to be stopped, and it has to stop now. Listen!